Hey, I'm gonna try to make this real quick because like there's 50 minutes left in the day, 40 if you take away the last 10 minutes because I have to like upload stuff then and everything like that. There's also like another 5 minutes for like editing stuff to reduce the noise and then fix the quality. So the more I talk here, the more I'm wasting time. But I really want to talk about the research poster. So this coming week, this Monday, I have the National Conference of the Undergrad. I can't speak. I have the National Conference of Undergraduate Research. That's where undergraduate students, such as myself, come to present their research. There's also a lot of cool presentations. I know this researcher at Pixar is going to talk about the hair animation, which is something that's really cool because to make hair good in animated movies is something that's very complex. I can't wait to attend that talk. But this was my research poster for the spring research fair. It was pretty easy. Like I did it kind of last minute. I kind of regret that, regret doing that because there was a typo. And I found that after I printed the things, I had to spend another like $30. But I kind of wanted to grab this because this was like a last minute thing scrapped together, put together. Whatever word you want to use was put together last minute. I think I can greatly improve on it. So what I'm trying to do this night, kind of tomorrow, if you just kind of really craft this into something that's worth telling, and I can say, okay, let me spend like $50 for a bigger poster. Yeah, that's the main idea. I think what I want to do, because it's a cool poster, there's a lot of good points. It's about my research about exploring AI's potential and predictive analysis for student essay scoring and real-time feedback. I also want to do more research. I think a lot of the stuff I do talk about in the paper is cool, but I think there's so much more I can add on. There's more, I can actually try getting, I don't know, just more data. I won't say like quantitative data. I think there's more research I want to do because I feel like it's very surface level of the research I'm presenting. I don't like that because when I was talking to people at the spring research fair, there was stuff I was like, oh, maybe I should actually look into that. Maybe I should look into that. I do think it'll be interesting. I think my favorite thing about the research is where I present a possible hybrid solution between teachers and teachers and AI in terms of how they can use it in help grading assessments. I do think it's so cool because that's like where I actually get to pitch my idea. But another thing I think is really interesting is just looking at the limitations and the stuff the AI may have to deal with, particularly bias in the data, the training data set, stuff like that. But also, I also think about when it comes to like the limitations of AI, the limitations of current human beings, right? For example, AI is going to have bias when it comes to the training data, right? But then it can overcome that bias though, I think. I was reading a research paper. I think that was an idea I presented. The more in context stuff, like depending on I don't know if it's one-shot prompting or more in context, in context learning, AI can overcome the training data by biases. I remember it was this research paper, I think about like Bayesian, oh my days, about like Bayesian theorem or something like that. Let's see, because I do think it's a really cool paper. I think it was by Victor Gupta and his team. I think it was Bayes theorem or whatever. The idea was they used like a coin flipping 50-50. And then the data set they trained on was more biased towards, I think, heads. But overall, do keep on giving like, depending like in the actual conversation, it gave him more examples where it was leaning tails. And after time, the in context learning the AI does was able to adapt to reflect the data that it's more likely to be tails than heads. So I guess AI can overcome that bias in this training set. I think that's something I do touch on loosely in my paper, my presentation, but I do think I want to go more in depth. But back to what I was saying about limitations, so like AI has limitations in its training based on what it's trained on. But then teachers also have those limitations. Like as a human teacher, I think every teacher will be willing to admit that they could be biased as well, especially when it comes to language essays, like based on what the grader is assessing the paper on. Like let's say you're grading an essay on some book like The Great Gatsby, and the students trying to explain themes. a lot of graders, a lot of teachers do grade on like how you're able to explain your narrative, how you structure your paper and stuff like that. Where bias is less likely, but sometimes certain themes just make more like the way someone explains something may make more sense to one teacher than the other, and they may grade it differently on that to the degree. I don't know if it's that big. That's something I can actually look into, and I think it's hard because I want to talk more about like limitation on the human side and how far that goes into the AI side. Because we always look at the limitations of AI, but do we really assess like if those limitations also reflect teachers and humans? And if so, is that really a limitation going like saying, okay, this is a hard no and we can't go beyond that? We can't use it past that limitation. I also think something I'm struggling with is I want to throw so much on the board, like so much on the research paper, but then I have to make sure it's coherent. Cause I saw some research papers where I didn't like it personally because I felt like there's a bunch of words on there. I don't want too much words to a point where it's like you're overwhelmed. I wanted to do something where I can walk through. Like if I had no idea what this was about, I could come here and kind of get a gist of it, and I can talk to the presenter. I'm like, hey, can you explain this term to me? I was really curious about this. Can you explain this more? Yeah. I hope I personally, I don't want to say, because I've been seeing this online on social media where people, like someone asks a question, they have to say, like, oh, that wasn't the scope of my research. But I don't want to say, I want to say like, yeah, I can answer that question. I obviously don't want to lie, so I have to do more research in general. I think another issue I found that's been colorful, and this is just an unstructured video, but I think it's worth it for what it is, was that in my research, I kind of take two approaches to the whole AI grading thing. I take it one from students using AI to help them write their essays, like, oh, give me advice on this, give me advice on that. And I also take it from the approach of teachers using AI to grade the papers with them to help them. And I think I don't structure that well enough on this presentation. So it was very confusing when I was trying to explain that. So I think that's something I want to try and do. That's why I also want to try and get rid of this template. I think it's a very limiting thing for my research. I want like my template or how I present the research to be tailored towards my research and not tailoring my research towards the template. And I guess that's just an issue that I've raised is when you do stuff last minute, you just choose a template off Canva. But yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think I really want to just restructure everything with this. I do think it's really cool. I think I never knew I was going to be this deep into research, but I am now. It's awesome. Yeah, I do apologize for the unstructured format of this video. If I do remember, I'll probably try and link the research paper in the description below. I think it was a nice read. It's not that long. You can look into it. And I think one cool thing, let's say you're a complete noob or you know nothing about AI, like you're like me right now, or like even like you know less. The thing about research papers is that let's say you get a good research paper and get ChatGPT or Notebook LM or Google, wherever. And when you find a term you don't understand, just search it up. Ask ChatGPT what it is, ask Notebook LM, wherever. And through that, you can learn more. That's what I was doing. As I was reading this research paper, there's a bunch of terms I ran into. And I'm trying to think of one right now, but my mind's going blank because that's something we humans do. But there's a lot of terms I ran into. I didn't understand what it was, so I had to like, just search it up or go to ChatGPT and say, hey, can you explain this concept to me? And keep on like, asking questions so I could get better understanding. Then go back to the research paper, and through that, you just learn so much more. But yeah, I think that's pretty much what I have to talk about today. There is one big announcement that I've been lagging on for keeping on for so long. For some reason, I just really need to sit down like before 10 p.m. and just get that video done. So maybe tomorrow I'll do that, or maybe on Saturday. So we'll see. But besides that, I have nothing else to say. So have a great day.